Time now for a DCTV news update with Diamond Lewis.
Hello, I'm Diamond Lewis with this special DeKalb County news update. By now, we've all heard about an outbreak of a respiratory disease caused by a novel or new coronavirus that was first detected in China in 2019 and has now been detected in almost 70 locations internationally, including right here in the United States. Here now to discuss more about this virus and how our community leaders are working to stop its spread is District Health Director and CEO of DeKalb County's Board of Health, none other than our own Dr. Elizabeth Ford. Thank you so much for joining us today, Dr. Ford.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
Now, Dr. Ford, certainly we wanted to have you come in today to talk about the coronavirus. You're seeing it everywhere. It's in all the headlines. And we want people to know, first off, what exactly is the coronavirus?
So I'm glad you asked that because let's start with the basics. Coronavirus is the virus that causes a number of different illnesses, first of all. So coronavirus causes the common cold. A coronavirus causes SARS. A coronavirus causes MERS. The current coronavirus that is causing all the illness right now is a novel coronavirus. And that's why when we speak of this one, we say COVID-19 to distinguish from the regular coronavirus that has been around for years and years and years.
Now, this strain was first discovered in December in China, but we're now seeing that it's here in the States. Talk to us about that, and should we all be afraid? Should we run out and grab masks and get water in our houses? What should we do?
So it's hard to say something is discovered in December. I think it was identified in December. There were probably lots and lots of cases before that, and no one figured out what was going on. So that's the first thing. They probably figured out a name for it in December. It does have a dramatic spread. It's apparently highly contagious. There are over 100,000 cases so far throughout the world. Here in the United States, I've lost count. I'm not sure what number we're up to right now, but I know it's in at least 18 states right now, probably more. Easily spread because it's spread through droplet infection. So that means when you cough, your droplets land on something, and then someone touches that something, touches their face, which we all do very frequently through the day, and then they're infected like that. Or if they're close enough to you and a person infected coughs at you or in your direction, you can also get impacted by that. So again, this is a novel coronavirus, so we're learning every day, but the studies have shown that this virus can live on surfaces from anywhere, at least from 2 hours on up. So keeping surfaces clean is one of the main ways we're trying to prevent this virus, that and folks protecting their coughs and frequent hand washing.
Personal question I have to ask. I'm an Amazon girl. Can I still order from Amazon at this point?
You absolutely can order from Amazon. It doesn't live on a package, and it wouldn't live on paper.
At this stage, can we say that this is an epidemic, Dr. Ford?
We can definitely say it's an epidemic. It's not a pandemic yet, but it's very close to being declared a pandemic just based on the rapidity of spread and the number of countries impacted already.
Now, if our viewers or their families have planned travel, should we cancel our travel plans at this stage?
You know, it depends on where you're going. I'm very respectful of the level of anxiety, but this is a self-limiting virus for the majority of people. If you are a healthy individual, even if you do contract coronavirus, it's a very short course. You feel weak, you have fever and cough, and then we're done. The flu is much more deadly. In the United States right now, over 26 million people have had the flu, and we've had 14,000 deaths. So I think that the same precautions that we use for flu are the same precautions we should be using for coronavirus. So if you wouldn't travel with the flu, then you wouldn't travel with coronavirus. But if you are postponing travel and you're not symptomatic, I think that might be a little dramatic at this point. But at the level of panic that folks are at now, many flights are being canceled anyway, so it actually may not even be in your control.
What should we look for? You said it's similar to the flu. You mentioned that the flu is even worse, but I know that the symptoms are sneezing, coughing. Talk to us about that. What symptoms should someone look for? If they're not feeling well, should they say, wait a minute, should I call the CDC? What do I do? What should I look for?
So the flu is more common, but the coronavirus or COVID-19 is more lethal. The COVID-19 has a higher mortality rate, which means more folks die from that disease. The symptoms are still the same. And when I say more folks die, we're still talking about less than 3% mortality. But compared to the flu, which is a 0.7 or 0.8% mortality, you're still talking about, a very low number. Symptoms are very similar. I would say that the difference between the flu symptoms and the COVID-19 symptoms, with the flu, you tend to have more body aches and feel kind of overall generally ill, whereas with the COVID-19 right now, the predominant symptom seems to be a cough with shortness of breath and sometimes a fever. But again, sometimes the flu presents like that as well. So you really have to think about what your risk is. Have you traveled outside of the country? Have you been exposed to anybody that traveled outside of the country? And if any of those two things are in place, your next step is to go to your doctor, because your doctor can determine whether or not it needs to take to the next level, which would either be to test or to self-isolate at home and just stay away from everyone for the recommended amount of time, which right now is about 2 weeks, until all of your symptoms disappear.
Dr. Ford, this is something new, and certainly something new is always frightening. We're all scared and want to make sure that we're going to do the best to keep our families healthy. So my question for you is, was the public health community prepared for something of this nature?
The public health community exercises for events all the time. This is what we do, emergency preparedness in the event of. So we're always planning for large-scale activities for things that happen all the way back to when we had anthrax. So we have exercises with our community partners, with churches, with schools, so that people know in the event of a mass event like this, what kinds of things we can do as a local community to protect ourselves, mass immunizations if it comes to that, dispensing of medication. So we're ready for this in terms of practicing and being prepared. You can never be 100% prepared for anything, but we've been working on these types of events or scenarios like this for a long, long time.
Dr. Ford, you and your team have done a wonderful job of keeping the citizens of DeKalb County and across the state informed. In fact, you just hosted, in partnership with DeKalb County CEO Michael Thurman, a town hall meeting. Talk to us about how you're working to spread the message and where our viewers can go to find out more information if they have any questions about the coronavirus.
Well, we were so happy to have that event to give us a chance to calm some of the fears, some of the anxieties around this sort of unknown virus that has everyone so frightened. And hopefully we succeeded in answering some of the questions that folks may have. And we'll also be available, of course, to answer questions if folks continue to have concerns as we move forward.
What can I do? What can we do to make sure that we're safe?
The number one thing you can do to make yourself safe is frequent hand washing. I think that we as a society don't wash our hands nearly enough on a regular day. Every time you touch a surface, really you should be washing your hands. When you think about doorknobs, handles in the bathrooms, things like that, and how many other people touch things like that, you realize how easy it is to spread anything. So that's number one, is frequent hand washing with soap and water. I see a lot of people rinse their hands in the restroom, and that's not going to do it. You need to wash your hands. Women need to make sure they dig under their nails and make sure that they wash under there as well, in between the webs of your fingers. If you have jewelry, you need to be mindful of that. That's number one. But there are lots of other things you can do to prevent the spread of not only COVID-19, but all infectious diseases. And that includes washing down surfaces, wiping down surfaces where people touch frequently, like bathroom counters, like kitchen counters, even your steering wheel and things like that people may not think about, your cell phone. Also, the main thing, don't come to work when you're sick. Don't send your children to school when you're sick, because that's the easiest way that things are spread.
And when you wash your hands, that's washing your hands for at least 20 seconds. Is that correct?
I say 20 seconds, 30 seconds, sing a song. Happy birthday is the one most people say. There's a whole list of good songs you can sing for 30 seconds. That'll make sure your hands are nice and clean.
One more point. I heard you say when you wash your hands, you actually scrub in like you're scrubbing in for surgery.
I do.
So thoroughly washing your hands includes, like you said, under the nails, but also the webs of your fingers. Tell us about that.
I wash all the way up to my wrist. I do in between each finger, under the nails, the nail beds. It takes me a good 2 minutes to thoroughly wash my hands, but that's just a habit from med school days, but it's not a bad habit.
Dr. Ford, you and your team have done a wonderful job of spreading the importance of being up to date with your shots and being in the know about your own health. One of those items includes making sure you get your annual flu shot. Talk to me about the importance of the flu shot and how really the story of the flu is getting lost in the sauce when it comes to the coronavirus.
Every year, millions and millions of Americans are infected with the flu virus. And of those millions and millions, several 100,000 die. Right now, flu season started in September of 2019, and already by February, we had 14,000 deaths. 150 of those were children. So we have an event that happens every single year that kills thousands of people that we have an immunization available for and that folks are not availing themselves of. So it's really worrisome. And while we are concerned about COVID-19, influenza happens every single year, and every single year people die unnecessarily because there's a vaccine available.
What I love about your office is you're creative. You even have the drive-up flu shot clinic where people can just drive up, roll the window down, stick their arm out, and you give them a shot.
Well, we're trying to make this as easy as possible for the community. You know, we know folks are busy. We know they've got a lot to do. And so the faster we can get important medications, which is a flu vaccine, into people, the better for everyone. And so the DeKalb County Board of Health works with a number of our local schools to help calculate how many cards would need to go through a line at any given time to maximize the number of people we can immunize in an hour, for example. So all these details are thought out long ahead so that when we have flu clinics, we know how to get medicine into folks as quickly as possible. And that's the way we can make it both convenient and efficient for the community.
Dr. Ford, I mean, really, it all boils down to making sure we remain healthy. Eating properly. You stay on me all the time about exercising, getting rest, and again, washing those hands.
Yes. I can't emphasize that enough. You know, most people don't wash their hands nearly enough. And I also don't think we realize how often we touch our face. And particularly with COVID-19, that's one of the ways it's spread is by people touching their face. And so the studies have shown that most folks touch their face about 90 times a day. So when you think about that, you know, it really emphasizes the need to keep your hands as clean as possible.
And Dr. Ford, I did forget to ask you one important question. Are we close to having a vaccine for COVID-19?
Vaccine development takes years. Even when they fast track it, it takes up to a year. So they are working on a COVID-19 vaccine, but it's very unlikely that it would be ready for this current season.
So we've just got to buckle down.
Buckle down and do those things we know what to do in terms of preventing.
All right. Thank you so much again, Dr. Ford.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us for this special DeKalb County News Update. For more up-to-date information about the coronavirus and all that DeKalb County is doing to keep us all healthy and safe, make sure you visit the DeKalb County website at dekalbcountyga.gov. I'm Diamond Lewis for DCTV.